The gentle rustle of tiny footsteps echoed over the hardwood as sunlight streamed in through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room. Colorful balloons bobbed gently under the breeze stirred up by the overhead fan. At the center of it all was a cake, adorned with vibrant blue frosting that declared, "Happy first birthday, Leo." My heart swelled watching Leo giggle while Stephen tossed him playfully into the air. A year, it seemed both an eternity and just a moment since he entered the world. A year since life as I knew it had crumbled, only to be slowly pieced back together. My name is Vanessa Carter, 31 years old. I'm a mother, a wife, and I've wrestled with familial wounds deep enough to mark the spirit rather than the flesh. Our house is now a sanctuary enveloped in love, but the journey here was fraught. To fully understand, let's rewind to a year back when I was 8 months pregnant and teetering on the edge at my sister's wedding. The day marked by pain and disgrace, orchestrated by those meant to protect me, my family, as though it weren't the first instance they shattered me. Throughout my childhood, my name seemed an afterthought, if it was even spoken. My mother, Barbara, was more concerned with her appearance than my anxieties. My father, Charles, was practically a fixture at dinner, only animated when my sister Jessica, the favored child, spoke. Jessica, the pristine, the lauded, bathed in praise for mere existence. I, on the other hand, seemed invisible. My academic achievements, my entrepreneurial ventures, none stirred a flicker of interest. Announcing my pregnancy was met with disdain, their response not far from mourning. An estrangement had long brewed, but hope, however tenuous, drew me to Jessica's opulent wedding. The invite said it all: lavish, pristine, and a clear display of extravagance delivered in a white silk envelope, the gold script as flawless as it was expressionless, just like Jessica herself. Stephen found it, laying it gently before me. We pondered silently over the symbolism of that ribbon, uncut and perfectly formed. "Do you want to go?" Stephen queried softly. His intuition already sensed the complexity of my feelings. Indeed, a part of my heart wanted to discard it, severing ties with the pain. Yet another, the old wounded part, clung to a fading hope of reconciliation. I knew, though, from countless cold dinners and indifferent holidays, what awaited. Looking up, I found reassurance in Stephen's eyes. "I don't want to regret staying away," I murmured. His smile, warm and supportive, calmed my apprehensions. "Then we face it together and we leave at any moment you wish," he assured me. It was his unwavering support, devoid of any pretense, that anchored me. Dressed in an elegant yet accommodating navy gown tailored for my pregnant frame, I readied myself on the morning of the wedding. At 36 weeks, my body was a mix of beauty and strain, swollen, stiff, yet undeniably proud. My hair was done simply, makeup light, with the sapphire earrings from Stephen, a reminder of our enduring bond. Though physically drained, I felt a resilience coursing through me. As we drove, Stephen's comforting presence was a gentle reassurance. I rehearsed mentally. The smiles, the acknowledgments, the requisite pleasantries. What blindsided me was the grandeur of the wedding itself. From the moment we arrived at the monumental evergreen estate, the air was charged with a spectacle that was both breathtaking and isolating. At the corners of a luxurious mansion now converted into a grand venue situated at the outskirts of the city, that old unsettling emotion crept over me, the sensation of being an outsider. The parking area was aglow with high-end vehicles, and guests ascended the marble staircase in dazzling attire, catching the early sun's rays. I recognized some: the ladies from Barbara's weekly card game, the gentlemen from Charles's professional group, yet no one spared me a glance. Crossing the threshold, the interior boasted a palette of white and gold. Towering crystal chandeliers hung above. Opulent floral displays filled with exotic roses adorned the space, and ivory candles cast a soft light from every corner. It was breathtaking, yet overwhelmingly lavish. "Just breathe," Stephen murmured. "We'll leave soon." We entered only to be welcomed not by family, but an assistant of Jessica's, offering a mechanical smile while presenting us an envelope marked "For Overflow." Overflow, like excess baggage. As my gaze swept across the hall, it caught on my mother, standing regally near the podium in her designer dress adorned with diamonds, her hair perfectly coiffed. She seemed distant, unapproachable. Then there was Jessica, radiant in a floor-length wedding gown that flowed like liquid pearl, encircled by a flurry of photographers and bridesmaids in coordinating attire. My smile was weak. It wasn't jealousy that nibbled at me, but rather the exhaustion from the facade that none of it affected me. The pain my parents unwittingly inflicted during my pregnancy by their indifference, never once inquiring about my well-being or offering support, constantly making me feel like an inadvertent burden. Stephen and I were directed to a table shunted to a neglected corner near the kitchen corridor, far from the main event, mismatched cutlery and wrinkled linens adorning it, a stark contrast to the polished setting elsewhere. Stephen's grasp was tense as he held out my chair, his unspoken emotions palpable. "It's okay," I reassured him quietly. "This isn't unexpected." He sighed, gave me a reassuring kiss on the forehead, then excused himself to take a call outside, citing the noise. Moments later, as I stood to stretch my legs, a voice halted me. "Vanessa." Turning around, I faced Jessica, her dress glistening, her hair styled seemingly without effort, yet flawlessly executed. Her smirk was tinged with insincerity. "Showing quite a bit, aren't you?" I took a calm breath. "I'm in my ninth month. He's healthy," I responded. She scanned my outfit, her face scrunched slightly. "Nothing more flattering available?" I clenched my jaw, diverting my gaze as the room quieted for the ceremony. "Jessica," I spoke softly, maintaining my composure, "I don't want any issues today. I'm here because I care about you, regardless of your feelings towards me." This appeared to stir something in her. "Then prove it," she snapped abruptly, pointing to an ornately heavy vase along the aisle. "That needs moving up front. It's obstructing photos." I stared, incredulous. "You expect me to move that? I'm heavily pregnant, Jessica. You know I shouldn't be lifting." She stepped closer, her voice a venomous whisper. "Then what are you even doing here?" I inhaled deeply, about to walk away, but her hand pushed me firmly. It was far from playful, far from kind. It was intentional. The room gasped as I lost my balance, a sharp pain radiating across my back and lower belly as I fell. Beneath me, warmth spread fast through my dress, pooling swiftly on the floor. Muted gasps spiraled around the stunned hall as silence enveloped us. The room froze in a collective gasp. A glass shattered somewhere in the distance. The click of a camera echoed thinly through the air. Amid the crowd, my eyes caught Jessica's, wide and filled with a mix of shock and horror. I couldn't discern which. From the far end of the hall, my mother, Barbara, expelled a horrified, hushed shout. "What have you done?" Jessica's voice then tore through the stunned silence. "You've destroyed my wedding day!" My heart pounded against my ribcage, my breathing erratic. The fabric of my gown clung to my legs, dampened by the spill. The whispers began to swirl around me, punctuated by the sound of smartphones being drawn from pockets, the crowd edging back as if I carried a plague. "You should have never come," Jessica yelled over the commotion. Trying to rise, my arms trembling under my weight, I spotted my father bulldozing through the onlookers, his face contorted with anger. In a swift motion that I barely registered, he seized a nearby folded tripod and struck me across the head. The sickening crash of metal against bone resounded off the opulent marble, sending a shiver down my spine. A brief hush followed, my ears ringing, vision blurring, and a warm sensation trickling beside my temple. There I lay immobile, dumbstruck not only by the physical blow but by the reality that my own father had struck me at a wedding, openly, while I was heavily pregnant. Gasps filled the room, followed by a distant sound of breaking glass. My body started to tremble uncontrollably as I collapsed, my knees buckling. The damp fabric of my dress clung coldly to my skin, the painful sensation in my stomach now accompanied by an acute, pulsing pain at the rear of my head. Then the whispers started. "Did he just hit her? She's bleeding. And pregnant? What is going on?" Through the buzzing chaos, Jessica's shrill voice punctuated once more. "You always need the spotlight, don't you? Today was supposed to be about me." Her concern wasn't for my well-being, but for her ruined photographs, her tarnished social media story. Rapid footsteps approached, and my mother was suddenly beside me, not with comfort, but with a fierce whisper. Get up. Stop this spectacle. You've embarrassed us enough. Blood dripped into my eye as I looked up at her, realizing they no longer regarded me as kin but an interruption to their curated lives. Just then, a voice, clear and filled with distress, cut through the murmuring. Vanessa! It was Stephen, my husband. He fought his way to me, horror etched across his face. Dropping to his knees, he cradled my face, whispering urgently, Who did this to you? All I could do was gaze back, tears streaming down my face. Voices overlapped in frantic shouts. It was her sister! Her waters have broken, and her father hit her! Someone call an ambulance now! Stephen bolted upright, his face a mask of fury and concern. Call 911, he bellowed, snatching out his phone to dial. This is an emergency. My pregnant wife has been assaulted. She's bleeding, in labor. We need medical help immediately, and the assailant is still present. As urgency turned into action, guests began to rally around, one offering a napkin to help stem the bleeding, another placing a jacket under my head for support. In the backdrop, a clamor rose up. Detain that man! He attacked a pregnant woman! But by then, my father had already receded into the shadows, hands trembling, muttering feeble justifications. Jessica's cries filled the room, not in anguish for me, but in lament over her ruined perfect day. Stephen resumed his place by my side, gripping my hand firmly. Help is on the way, love. I'm here. You're going to be okay. He reassured me, his presence a beacon in the harrowing ordeal. For the first time since the dreadful events of the wedding began to unfold, a real sense of security enveloped me as the sirens grew louder, heralding the arrival of help. In moments, police officers and paramedics rushed in, the sight of me on the floor, blood-streaked and cradled by my husband, shifting the day's narrative irrevocably from celebration to calamity. From pandemonium to decisive measures, a voice rose above the rest. Make space, please, demanded a paramedic, rushing to my side. Officer Grant towered over the crowd, his presence unyielding. Who is responsible for this? He questioned sternly. Several onlookers turned towards my father, Charles. He struck her with the tripod, one guest exclaimed. She'd already fallen before he lashed out, another added. Stephen, barely containing his distress, announced, She's at 37 weeks. Her sister pushed her, her water broke, and then her father assaulted her. She's been in agony, bleeding for the last several minutes. They should all be accountable. Without a moment's delay, the officers handcuffed Charles, his complexion draining of color. Barbara interjected loudly, attempting to sway the officer's decision. You've misunderstood. You can't arrest him amidst all these guests, she pleaded. Officer Grant faced her, his response firm. Assaulting a pregnant woman is indisputably clear, not a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Jessica, crumpled in an ornate chair, her cosmetics smeared and dress disheveled, cried out, It was unintentional. I didn't intend to shove her. She made it about herself. Though her explanations faltered under the evident truth captured on numerous smartphones. Officer Grant approached her next, stating, We have eyewitness accounts and video proof of your initial aggression that resulted in injury. You need to come with us, too. Jessica's protests echoed as they restrained her. This is my wedding day! Meanwhile, Stephen knelt beside me once more as paramedics organized the stretcher setup. Barbara, still in shock, attempted to argue yet again, only to be stopped by an officer. Your antagonistic behavior towards the injured party while she bled is grounds for your detention for both obstruction and suspected complicity in assault. My mother, father, and sister, once paraded in with grandeur, were now escorted out in cuffs. As they were led away, a new chapter of disgrace unfurled. Brandon's family, Jessica's almost-in-laws, had observed the entire spectacle. His mother, stance firm and expression seething with scorn, declared, The wedding is canceled. We refuse to align with a family of such character. Murmurs filled the room. Jessica recoiled in despair. Please reconsider. The costs. Character is the investment here, and it's sorely lacking, retorted Brandon's mother before they left decisively. As I was settled onto the stretcher, Stephen gripping my hand fervently, a paramedic dabbed at my temple tenderly, another ensuring my vital signs were stable. We're heading to St. Grace Hospital, preparing the maternity ward just in case, they informed us. Stephen kissed my hand. I'm here for you. Every step. As doors shut behind us, leaving behind the shattered remains of the day, I stared at the ambulance's ceiling, murmuring, "Their approval means nothing. I have what truly matters now." Inside the ambulance was a surreal quietude, interrupted only by the blare of sirens. One paramedic monitored my vitals, another observed the fetal heart rate monitor attentively. Clinging to Stephen's hand, I felt an uncanny strength envelop me, as expressed by one of the medics. "You're doing wonderfully, Vanessa. The baby is stable. We're almost at the hospital." Stephen consoled, his voice quivering yet strong. "I regret leaving your side." I reassured him with a squeeze of his hand. "You weren't at fault. They were." The remainder of the ride blurred into the lights above, the periodic beeps, and an overwhelming sense of focused determination, a sensation familiar to those accustomed to crisis. Upon arrival at St. Grace, the maternity team was ready and efficient. Dr. Lisa Bennett, who had overseen my prenatal care, met us immediately, her demeanor both warm and decisive. "You're in safe hands now, Vanessa. We'll take good care of you and the baby." Allowed to stay at my side, Stephen whispered assurances. "You're strong, courageous. He'll be here soon." The trauma seemed to have hastened labor, with contractions increasing quickly, merged into a haze of agony. My grip tightened around Stephen's wrist as voices coached me to push through the pain, to take one more breath. My body was on the brink of collapse, yet my spirit persisted relentlessly. Then, breaking through the silence, came a cry, Leo's cry, the most enchanting sound to grace my ears. He arrived in this world at a little after 2 a.m., his cries robust and full of life, his tiny hands flailing, his skin a healthy pink. Dr. Bennett carefully laid him on my chest, and tears of relief and joy rolled down my cheeks as I uttered, "Hello, my love," tracing the delicate skin of his cheek. "Welcome to a brighter future." Stephen leaned in close, his own tears cascading down his cheeks, kissing both Leo and me gently on the forehead. "You were incredible," he murmured. We remained in the hospital for 4 days, which gave me ample time to recover from a head injury, the ardors of childbirth, and the emotional strain I had endured. The compassionate nurses saw me not as a controversy, but as a person worthy of care and consideration. Those serene nights, cradling Leo in my arms and listening to Stephen's quiet snores from the makeshift bed, illuminated a profound realization within me. Despite their attempts to degrade, to sideline, or to shatter me, no one could ever rob me of my voice again. By the time we were ready to leave the hospital, with Leo nestled quietly in his carrier, I said to Stephen resolutely, "Now, we seek justice." He agreed immediately. 2 days post-discharge, we found ourselves in the office of attorney Mark Wilson, whose unwavering gaze matched the resolve in his voice. As I cradled Leo, serene in my arms and oblivious to the turbulence around him, I declared to Mark, "We're not merely filing a complaint. I want to press charges for it all." Persuasion was unnecessary. Mark had already seen the viral videos, wedding clips showcasing Jessica's hysteria, my father's violent swing with the camera tripod, and the ensuing chaos had proliferated on social media platforms, accumulating millions of views and sparking widespread indignation from various groups and individuals calling for justice in my name. Though the attention was daunting, it affirmed my resolve. "We'll charge them with aggravated assault," Mark detailed, "and include charges for endangering an unborn child, public violence, and emotional distress." With countless videos and eyewitness accounts bolstering our case, the outcome seemed unequivocal. We initiated legal proceedings that very day. The following weeks were a blur of courtrooms and testimonies. I faced each day head on, Leo secure in a sling against Stephen, as I confronted murmurs and judgmental stares from acquaintances once known. My parents and Jessica offered weak defenses, spinning narratives of misunderstanding and lost tempers, Jessica lamenting her spoiled wedding. Yet their feeble attempts at sympathy fell apart against the solid evidence presented. Security footage, guest videos, and a plethora of testimonies unequivocally showed the physical and emotional harm they inflicted on me, a pregnant woman amidst a crowd of onlookers. When Judgment Day arrived, the judge pronounced a calm yet resolute verdict. "Barbara, Charles, and Jessica Carter," he began, the guilt clear in his tone. "This court finds you guilty on all charges." The sentences were stern. Prison without the prospect of early parole. The court also recognized the extensive trauma inflicted on both Leo and me. Relief washed over me for the first time in weeks as Stephen squeezed my hand and Leo slumbered peacefully, oblivious to the gravity of the moment. They were sentenced not out of vengeance, but because it was essential that society understood the prolonged torment I had endured, a torment I chose to no longer keep silent about. Post verdict, everything transformed, not just legally, but emotionally too. For the first time, I understood what it was to feel genuinely safe. No more tension, no more anticipatory dread, no more masking the pain. Barbara, Charles, and Jessica, the very people who had caused me unimaginable harm, were now facing their consequences, affording me the peace and security I had long yearned for. Those who were meant to offer protection and affection were now confined by the law. The legal system had fulfilled its role, and it was our turn to embark on the journey of healing. Stephen and I returned to the home where he grew up, an inviting two-level residence adorned with a sweeping porch and a year-round blossoming garden. His parents had passed on several years prior, yet the house retained a welcoming warmth, as if it was eagerly anticipating a new family's laughter and love. Our family. I took joy in designing Leo's nursery, painting the walls a gentle blue, speckling the ceiling with star, and adding murals of cheerful animals that I painted while he slept. Each brushstroke whispered, "You are secure. You are cherished. You are free." Stephen resumed his job with a new, flexible timetable, while I cautiously ventured back into my career as an event planner, operating from the comfort of our home. This time around, work wasn't a refuge from my struggles. It was a passion rekindled, inspired by the future I envisioned for Leo, one where his mother pursued her dreams with vigor. My days quickly filled with baby laughs, soothing lullabies, and leisurely strolls in the nearby park. We became part of a new church where gossip and judgment were replaced by acceptance and genuine connections. Some members, familiar with our story from online discussions, approached me to express their admiration, stating, "You're incredibly courageous. What you did was right. Your son will be proud." The most heartfelt reassurances, though, were found in the quiet moments. The way Stephen's gaze softly fell on me each night, or how Leo reached out for me when drowsiness took over. We began establishing our own family rituals: pizza nights every Friday, pancakes on Sunday mornings, and spontaneous snuggle sessions on Tuesday afternoons, surrounded by cartoon laughter. Our life was beautifully imperfect, filled with sleepless nights, the chaos of child rearing, and never-ending bills. Yet it was authentically ours. For the first time, I felt more than just survival. I was truly living. On one such day, the morning sun cast soft, golden beams across our living room. Balloons danced from chairbacks, and "Happy Birthday, Leo" banners draped across the fireplace. The air was sweet, with the aroma of vanilla frosting. Stephen, by the kitchen counter, lit the final candle on the modest cake we had prepared the night before. Leo, dressed in his dinosaur onesie, toddled excitedly across the floor, chuckling at the echo of his steps. Watching them, my heart swelled to extents I had never imagined possible. Today wasn't just a celebration of Leo turning one. It marked 1 year since the sequence of life-altering events: the push from Jessica, the strike from my father, the rushed entry into motherhood, and the start of a new chapter. As we encircled Leo, ready to sing, my eyes welled up with tears. Our song was gentle, intimate, sung for him, for us. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Leo." He clapped joyously as Stephen helped him extinguish the candle, then assisted him in dipping a finger into the cake, giggling at the stickiness. Laughter permeated the room. Lifting Leo, I felt enveloped by reflection. A whole year of transformation, of healing, of letting go of past hurts and embracing joy, a joy I once thought I was unworthy of. Gazing at a photograph on the side table taken the day we left the courthouse, my arms cradling Leo, Stephen's arms secure around us, I noticed the determined pride in my eyes. "He will never experience that kind of hurt," I murmured, kissing Leo's soft hair. "He will grow up surrounded by love, not dominance, safety, not suppression." In that instant, I realized I had not only given life to my son, but had also rebirthed myself, a person who no longer yearned for affection from those incapable of giving it unconditionally. It was Leo's birthday, but it felt like a rebirth for me too, as I had finally freed myself from the burdens of my past. This new life owed me nothing. I owed it to myself to live fully liberated.